Round up the whole family and head out to Fort Liberty Wild West Dinner Show. Come see how the West was fun. Authentic Indian dancing, Miss Kitty's Dance Hall girls, rope trick artists, sharpshooters, and much more. You'll be treated to some great grub. Roasted chicken and pork ribs to apple pie with unlimited beer, wine, and soft drinks. Look for the special 2-for-1 admission coupon in Channel 9 Central Florida Values Magazine. Fort Liberty Wild West Dinner Show. For reservations, call 351-5150.
Welcome to Highway 192 in Kissimmee. Right down the street here is Orange World, and right across the way over here is one of the Magic Castle gift shops. One of the wizards of Highway 192. Today we're going to be talking about... Wow! Yeah, that was really loud. Little helicopter. Those happen here. But before this was an Aldi here on Highway 192. This was home to a pretty cool dinner show. Hi everybody, and welcome to the World of Micah. Today we are on Highway 192 in Kissimmee, where we're going to be talking about the forgotten Fort Liberty Wild West Dinner Show that used to take place right over here in the parking lot where now an Aldi sits. We're going to be looking at where it used to sit and kind of talk about the history of this dinner show that no longer exists. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. If you want to support my channel, down below is a link. It'll take you to my Patreon page. Now, let's take a closer look. You know, there's a ton of restaurants along Highway 192. This place also used to be the home of a few dinner shows, including Capone's and Arabian Nights, but there was also one called Fort Liberty, which had a Wild West dinner show, and it sat right over here in this parking lot, in this general area. This is where it would have sat, at 5260 West US Highway 192. Now, Fort Liberty opened on July 12th, 1987. I was born in 1988, so this was a little before my time, as you could say. So the store right over here is located at 5256, and the Little Caesars right here is 5264. So 5260 would have been straight ahead. Nothing in here. This is a parking lot that leads to a little strip mall and an Aldi, but this is where Fort Liberty Wild West Dinner Show once sat. But what is Fort Liberty? Fort Liberty was a 2-acre cavalry fort and trading post. Imagine something you would see maybe over in Frontierland of Walt Disney World. This place had 20 Western themed shops, which included an Indian gift shop, an old-time general store, and a Western wear outlet. Today, it's nothing but a parking lot next to an airbrush, a Jimmy's Burgers and Wings, and a liquidation luggage and shoes. I think I'd rather visit that old-time general store. What about you? It was owned and operated by a company called On Stage Entertainment, who were based out in Nevada, Las Vegas area. They also ran a slew of restaurants on International Drive, including Mardi Gras and King Henry's Feast. We're not talking about that today, though. We are strictly talking about Fort Liberty. Imagine, if you will, a show like the Hoop-de-Doo Revue at Walt Disney World. They had Indians and cowboys and characters like Wild Bill and Miss Kitty. You had Native American Indians doing dances and knife throwings and bow and arrows. This is definitely for someone who is into adventure, like myself. Now, I heard about some other characters they had, including Cowgirl Kate and Captain Charles Hancock. They were masters of ceremonies, and they also worked with a man named Professor Gladstone. So there were a slew of different characters here, and basically it was like a hoop-de-doo. You know, this is the time when dinner shows were everything. You were eating a 4-course meal here at Fort Liberty. Now, this 4-course meal was something pretty special. Everything was in buckets except for the pork and the pie. Everything else, the fried chicken, soup, salad, baked beans, baked potato, corn on the cob, unlimited beer, wine, and soft drinks, just in case you want to get a little bit rowdy. A little earnest for you there. But anyways, it was an adventure in its own, eating this 4-course meal. But it all took place right here in this parking lot. Imagine walking around in a fort, log fort. I told you, 20 Western themed shops. It's like Old Town of the Old West. Now, a general store sounds kind of interesting, but you would walk around, do your shopping. It was a whole experience. Shows were at 8 o'clock. You would go in, see the show, and I heard they had guys walking around who would try and get your table to get involved with the show, clapping, singing along, doing all kinds of things to keep it interesting. With these dinner shows, the thing is, the food is not always the best. Normally, the food is not good at all. You're paying for the entertainment, but they're feeding you to help you keep your attention. You're not sitting there watching a show and saying, I'm hungry. No, you're eating, you're drinking, you're drinking, you're drinking, and you're eating, and you're clapping, and you're singing along, and you're enjoying these comedic characters, and all these things happening on stage. And it's fun. It really is good old-fashioned American fun. It's Americana at its finest, especially in the 80s and the 90s. People loved dinner shows. I still do to this day. I imagine this is where this photograph was taken. You can see the sign said Fort Liberty. The welcome, Kissimmee St. Cloud Official Tourist Information Center. Can't find the information center here either. That has been removed since everything closed down. But this is where that was. I believe the Tourist Information Center was probably in Fort Liberty. They probably sold tickets for the show and tickets for other things here. Reading more about exactly what you would have seen as you were walking through the storefronts. They had life-sized Indian statues, teepees, wagons. Pretty cool. This was the barracks of the 6th Regiment 6 U.S. Artillery, or home of Wild Bills. Now, in the late 90s, early 2000s, for some reason, dinner shows were kind of disappearing in Central Florida. A few of them still remain for a couple of years. Arabian Nights. Capone's is still thriving and surviving down the street here on Highway 192. But June 22nd, 2000, On Stage Entertainment announced that they would be closing King Henry's and Wild Bill's at Fort Liberty, and they would be laying off all 234 employees. It's a sad day. It's the end of an era. I never got to come out to Wild Bill's. Pretty sure I saw it driving on 192 when I was visiting family here in Central Florida. But this is where it sat, right here. Nothing remains. Absolutely nothing. This has been all leveled. I was kind of hoping I'd see some kind of something with the name on it. Doesn't exist whatsoever. Even the sign that I showed you guys, the wooden sign like this one right here, has been completely torn down. It's not even the same signs here in the parking lot, which is kind of sad, to be honest with you, because I enjoy a good dinner show. I really wish that the other dinner show down the street at Walt Disney World, the Hoop-De-Doo Revue, would reopen, but it has not reopened since Walt Disney World has reopened. But if you and your family ever visited Fort Liberty, Wild Bill's dinner show, comment, let me know. I bet it was awesome. I bet it was exactly what you would think. Just a good time. That's what it's all about. But this, where we're standing, is where you and your family would have been sitting and eating, or you would have been shopping. You've been walking around right here, visiting at one of the 20 different Western themed stores, looking at a teepee right here, or looking at an Indian carving. Or heck, we could have met old Wild Bill. Man, they need to bring those back. They need to bring dinner shows back. But this is it. This is it. So the next time you're on Highway 192, grabbing some pizza at Little Caesars or shopping at Aldi, you're right next to a site that once fed tons of families visiting Central Florida. Pretty cool. When I'm out doing these kind of videos, I'll usually walk along and look at poles like so. These are way too new to be from Wild Bill's. This has been completely redone. Sometimes I'll look around and these, because it'll say what used to be here. You know, it would say like Fort Liberty or maybe even On Stage Entertainment, you know, on some of these things, but I'm not seeing any of that out here. These don't even have any of the restaurants names or anything on there. Sometimes I will look in the cement. People carve their names in cement all the time when they're doing construction, but I see nothing that remains of Wild Bill's or Fort Liberty whatsoever out here. So looking at the advertisement again, where we're standing is right there where my thumb is pointing. That would have been the main house. So that would have been right here. Right where we're standing, we would have been inside that main house. Looking back towards the front, the cabin and the fort and all the little stores would have been right over here, all those stores. And then that would have been the log. So imagine just a fort going all the way around this, all four sides. And then right here would have been the main dinner show. I don't imagine these would have been here back in the day, or maybe they would have been. I don't know. Don't know much about these apartments here. That would have been kind of cool to look out your window and see a fort. And it's also kind of cool that it's still kind of separated like a fort, as you can see. That's kind of cool where they leveled it out. Nothing has been put in its place. And I'm thinking this is what the entrance would have been, like this. This is an old advertisement video that you saw on this video. Right there. This would have been a prime real estate area for this dinner show too, because right across the street is the Wizard. You could have visited the Wizard, walked down to Orange World, and then finished off your day having some grub and clapping your hands and singing "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain When She Comes" right here at Fort Liberty. What a time to be alive. But there's nothing that remains, nothing to be seen. And that's unfortunate. I usually like to find something, you know, some relic of the past. But that's not the case on this episode. But comment below if you and your family ever got to visit Fort Liberty and saw Wild Bill's dinner show. I kind of want to know about it. I bet it was a good time. The only kind of pioneer place you're going to be finding is the History Museum and Pioneer Village, which is right down the street here. Now, if I wanted to, I could definitely go into Aldi and buy some fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, even some beer if I wanted to. Dress up like Wild Bill and go sit in that vacant lot and recreate that show. Special shout out to Television Archives on YouTube for that commercial. I will put a link down below so you guys can check out the commercial on their channel as well, because that's going to be the closest thing we get to seeing that show ever again. Well, you guys, we came, we saw, we found the former site and home of Fort Liberty on Highway 192. This was a lot of fun. Love finding stuff like this. And some of these videos that deal with things like this that are completely gone, like nothing remains, are a little difficult to do. This episode in particular was very difficult to do. Not a whole lot about this online. Shout out to everyone who put up anything on the internet about this dinner show, because you definitely helped me with this episode. Down below are links. Check them out. I want to give credit where credit is due. But no one's ever really done a video like this showing the actual location. That's a passion of mine. I'm glad we got to do it, but I believe that's it. Our adventure for today has come to an end. It's time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed this episode, please click that thumbs up button. I will see you guys on the next episode of World of Micah. Next time you're here on Highway 192 in Kissimmee, tell someone that World of Micah sent you. See you guys on the next episode. Till then, stay weird. Goodbye.